We spoke recently about how the whole exposure notification and tracing app solution hasn't exactly panned out during the whole coronavirus pandemic. If you think back to when this all started, a lot of people were skeptical of technology solutions for testing and tracing because they were worried about governments taking advantage of the crisis to infringe further on civil liberties. Thus, Apple and Google bent over backwards to create a system that protected privacy, perhaps overly so, as some governments say their systems are anonymized to the point of being useless for the purposes of testing and tracing. But remember, governments also swore up and down that they wouldn't take advantage of this time to grab more abilities to spy on us, except the government of Singapore now says local law enforcement can access COVID-19 contact tracing data, which they might want to do because apparently 78% of the population of Singapore has adopted the Trace Together app, quoting ZDNet. This figure is double that of the adoption rate just 3 months ago in September, when Trace Together had clocked 2.4 million downloads, or about 40% of the population. A recent spike likely was fueled by the government's announcement that use of the app or token would be mandatory for entry into public venues in early 2021, when it was able to distribute the token to anyone who wanted one. In its previous efforts to ease privacy concerns, the Singapore government had stressed repeatedly that COVID-19 data would, quote, never be accessed unless the user tests positive, end quote, for the virus and was contacted by the contact tracing team. Personal data such as unique identification number and mobile number also would be substituted by a random permanent ID and stored on a secured server. The Singapore government now has confirmed local law enforcement will be able to access the data for criminal investigations. Under the Criminal Procedure Code, the Singapore Police Force can obtain any data, and this includes Trace Together data, according to Minister of State for Home Affairs Desmond Tan. He was responding to a question posed during Parliament Monday on whether the Trace Together data would be used for criminal probes and the safeguards governing the use of such data. The Trace Together privacy statement was updated Monday to reflect the latest revelation about potential police use. It now contains this statement, quote, also, we want to be transparent with you. Trace Together data may be used in circumstances where citizens' safety and security is or has been affected. Authorized police officers may invoke Criminal Procedure Code powers to request users to upload their Trace Together data for criminal investigations. The Singapore Police Force is empowered under the CPC to obtain any data, including Trace Together data for criminal investigations, end quote. As Sean McDonald tweeted, quote, while this is a stark example, it's frustrating to see it treated as surprising. This is why people talked about privacy and why privacy centrism in public tech debates is so dangerous. We won't tech our way out of unchecked government power. Quite the opposite, end quote.